Hello, good evening. I just look awkward over here, but hi. Hi, everybody. Welcome to tonight's workshop. My name is Arlene de los Santos. I'm the community manager for the Creators Collective by Eres, which most of you are part of, but if you are not, we are going to send the link so that you can apply. And the application is super simple. You just need to make sure that you send samples of work, your website, your portfolio, whatever you have, and we'll review. And good luck. Tonight, I'm so excited because we have a workshop that we've been working on extremely for you because I know that most of you have brands or you have your personal brand or you have a business, whether it's service based or physical products. So this is going to be great for you. I'm so excited because you're going to learn so much. Um, Tonight we have Kevin Talbot. He is the founder of Talbot Media, and Kevin is also part of the collective. So, later on you can go over there and ask him some questions if you have. Um, he is the founder of Talbot Media, like I said. He's an award winning filmmaker, strategist, and creative producer with a passion for helping brands tell their stories and content creators like you authentic stories, no BS. He has worked with companies like BET, Disney, Wonder Music, crafting narratives that truly resonate. And he is just an amazing person. I'm so excited that he's here hosting this workshop. He'll be breaking down how to develop your brand story, build meaningful connections, and stand out in your industry. But I will stop talking and let him take it away. Hi, Kev.
Good afternoon or good evening, everyone. And thank you so much, Arlene, for that amazing introduction. Thank you. Thank you. Sometimes it's so crazy when you're just in it on the day to day, you actually forget how far you've come. So thank you so much for not only to you, but to also the EDS Creative Collective for allowing me the opportunity to, be able to share a little bit about my journey tonight, share some of the crazy lessons I've learned along my 15 plus years of doing this. And, the goal for tonight is really to empower you to start telling your story if you're not already. Right. And if you are telling your story, but maybe you feel like you're not getting the results that you're looking for, maybe you're not connecting with those you want to connect with, we want to give you a couple tools so hopefully like you can start to captivate your audience and then in turn elevate your brand. So thank you again, Arlene. I really appreciate that. All right. So Arlene, you can stay if you want screen, but
I'm
all right.
here.
You're here. All right. So actually, so let's get this started. We're gonna have some fun tonight. All right. So first and foremost, before we get started, I see some people in the chat. Shout out to everybody who's checking in on the chat. All right. Before we as we get started here, I like to do a roll call. I like to know where everybody's tuning in from. So as we get this started and I start to do my intro, just drop in the chat. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, maybe about your business or your brand, and maybe even what you're hoping to get out of this today. So let's get this actually. All right. So, but before we begin, I just want to go over a couple housekeeping rules. All right. So, 1 second here. This is fun. That's why you gotta love live television here. There we go. All right. All right. I see y'all trickling in here. Yes, yes. Welcome. Welcome. Thanks for pulling up, everybody. Yes. Shout out to Maciel. Shout out to Arlene. Shout out to Antoine. Yeah, shout out to Eric. Shout out to Roya. Shout out to Kaylin. Shout out to Yanni. We out here tonight. And shout out to y'all because y'all taking the time out to this is an investment in yourself. You could be anywhere on a Thursday night hanging out, but you are here learning about how to tell your story and take your brand to the next level. So as folks keep trickling in, let's do our roll call. Tell us who you are, tell us where you tuning in from all over the world and what you're looking to get out of this workshop tonight. So, but like I said, I got a couple housekeeping rules before we get into this. I got two rules in every workshop that I host. Very simple is show love and show respect because this is about community here. You know what I'm saying? Like this is a chance for all of us to come and connect with each other, express our thoughts and ideas. and everybody's voice is going to get heard. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to show love. We're going to show respect. I'm also a very big advocate for energy, right? And I believe that in life, you get the energy that you give. So we're only together here for a short period of time tonight, probably less than an hour. So for the next hour, I'm gonna give you all the energy I got. Y'all give me what you can. All right. And the last thing, I'm a very generous person. All right. So for those of you that register for tonight's workshop and you stick around to the end, we got some freebies for you. We got some freebies for you. So, oh, the chat is active tonight. The chat is active tonight. I like that. I like that. Keep talking to me in the chat because this is an interactive workshop, right? So whatever you put into this, you are definitely gonna get out. Right. Like I'm not here to just talk to you. We're gonna be working together on this. This workshop frame by frame is actually the exclusive framework that I've used to help my clients grow their businesses, grow their brands, connect with their audience, boost their sales, even coach other people on how to make those award-winning films that Arlene talked about. So tonight, the stuff that we're gonna get is going to help you elevate, but more importantly, it's interactive. So I'm gonna have some prompts. We're gonna have a couple games worked into here. So like I said, keep chatting in the chat and let's just bring it tonight. All right. So I see people shouting us out. Let's see who's up in here. So we got Yenny. Okay, Yenny. Shout to Yenny, a multifaceted artist based in West Harlem, NYC, a photographer and graphic designer. Okay. Okay. Harlem is in the building. New York City. New York City's in the building tonight. One thing I need to know about me, I'm from the Bronx, New York. So the Bronx, we always here. We representing. New York is always in the building wherever I'm at. We in here. Okay. Shout to Christine on the check-in. She is here. Okay. All right. Let's see who this is right here. Tasmane. Shout to Tasmane, up and coming recording artist. Originally from Jamaica. Yes. But now in South Carolina. Okay. Okay. All the way from Jam Rock to the Carolinas. We like that. Okay. That's what's up. What part of South Carolina? Because I frequented the Carolinas a lot recently. And I got a lot of good stuff going on up in there. All right. Recording artists. All right. Go ahead. You got to tell us about your music, man. Drop that link in the chat. All right. Who else we got up in here tonight? Sabel, shout to Sabel, a lead creative storytelling community base in New York, New Jersey. That's what's up. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for checking in tonight. Thanks for checking in tonight. All right, who else we got up in here? All right, we got Kaylin up in here, the owner of Socially Smooth, a digital marketing agency in New York City. Shout to Socially Smooth. You know Socially Smooth. And y'all know Socially Smooth too, because if you follow EdS and you've seen any of those nice, amazing graphics, Socially Smooth collaborates on those. So shout to Socially Smooth. Shout to Kaylin in the building. All right, let's see who else we got up in here tonight. We have Tina. Shout to Tina tuning in from Jersey. We got Jersey in the building tonight too. We got everybody. We checking in. We got the tri-state area. Anybody from Connecticut in here? Let's see if we got the whole tri-state area covered tonight. Let's see. Let's see. Yes, yes. All right. As y'all keep flooding in, keep flooding in. Yes, let us do the roll call. Let us know where you at in the chat. Let us know where you at in the chat. All right. Shout to Roya, a Bronx, New York native, a poet, performer, educator, and activist. Yes, actually, dang, you know what's crazy? Shout to Roya. Actually, Roya is a phenomenal poet. She actually just released her second book of poems called Savings Time. Make sure you check that out. I actually have a copy over here on one of the bookshelves back there. Not this one right here. We got to get Roya on this bookshelf. But all right, cool. We got a couple different folks in here. Oh, Washington Heights is in the building. We got to shout out Washington Heights. We in here. All right, all right. That's what's up. Thank you for everybody for tuning in. But the one thing I want to tell you is no matter where you're tuning in from, shout out to you for making this investment in yourselves and your brands, right? Because this is an investment in your time, right? And so wherever you are tuning in from, if you're ready to bring your brand to life one frame at a time, yo, drop them ones in the chat. Drop some ones in the chat for me. All right. I told you this was gonna be interactive tonight. All right. We're gonna have some fun. Right. So as I go through my story and you'll get a chance to know a little bit about me. You'll understand. You're like, all right, he's from the Bronx, so I get why this presentation is like this. All right. So what I will start doing is I'm gonna start sharing my screen here. All right, folks, let's dive into it. So, welcome to Frame by Frame, building your brand story. I'm your host, Kevin Talbot, the founder of Talbot Media, which is a digital media and marketing agency designed to help brands share their stories, connect with their audience, and grow their digital presence through brand strategy, content creation, and social media marketing. And professionally, since 2009, I've worked in various aspects of media production, filmmaking, and produced a lot of different things. But if there's one thing that I could tell you in the 15 plus years of producing all these different types of production, is that story sells. And the brands and businesses that we love to support, we support them because we have an emotional connection to them. And usually it's because of the story, right? Like we find in today's day and age that, with everybody doing business online and social media and things of that nature, there's a lot of amazing products out there, but folks nowadays they have a they're more conscious when they're making these purchasing decisions. So we want to make sure that we're connecting and supporting brands that actually align with our values. And so, this workshop that we're going to be going through tonight, as I mentioned, is a workshop that's designed to help businesses and individuals learn how to craft compelling brand stories so that they can connect, inspire, and drive action. And like I said, this is a formula that literally we've used to help a bunch of our clients grow their brands, 10x their sales, and much, much more. So, first things first, we're going to be going, a couple of things we're going to be learning tonight is, well, one, what is brand storytelling and why does it even matter? Right? Because let me ask you, drop in the chat if you ever heard of a brand story or you know anything about that or what that even means. Oh, we got some ones in the chat. We got them ones. All right. So yeah, so drop in the chat. If matter of fact, if you're building a business or a brand, drop in the chat and tell us a little bit about your brand or business. And if you are actually out there telling story or using video. Let's see in the chat here. Okay. All right. So Yenny's in the chat. Yenny says brand story is your story of how your brand was built. Okay. Very good. Very good. Anybody else? Have you ever heard of the concept of a brand story before? And it's okay. And if you've never done it before, it's okay because actually a little bit about my story. I'm actually, the first person in my family to own and operate a business. So a lot of the things I'm sharing with you are things that I've had to learn on my own the hard way from experience. And so I didn't know what a brand story was or the power of telling stories. So even if you don't know, that's okay. That's why you're here. You're here to learn tonight. All right. Kaylin says a brand story can share your journey. Exactly. Yes. Yes. Very good. Very good. All right. And if you got any more answers, keep coming. Oh, yeah, they coming in here. Arlene says this is new to me. Okay. Maciel says poetry is a form of branding slash storytelling. Okay. All right, Maciel. Shout out to you for that. I like that. I like that. That was very good. You're right. And I'm glad that y'all thinking like this because you realize that every single chance that you get to post content or whether it be a video, a blog post, or something, this is a chance for you to keep building your story. So I'm glad that y'all starting to think like that. All right. So once we start going through and learning what our brand storytelling is and why it matters, we're actually going to go into the elements of a powerful brand story. We're going to give you a couple tips to craft your brand story. Then we're going to do a nice little conclusion and a Q&A, and then we're going to chat for a little bit. All right. So, why brand storytelling matters. And the best way for me to explain this to you or even start to begin this conversation is with a story. All right. So, professionally, I've been working in this industry since 2009. Right. And where I am today with Talbot Media was always a goal of mine. Right. As I mentioned to you, I was the first person in my family to own and operate a business. So, even though I knew this is what I wanted to do, I never really knew how to get here, right? I never really had anyone that could really help me navigate and show me the way, right? So my mindset was, okay, how do you start a business? Okay, if I want to do something in media, I got to know how to make media, right? So I'm going to make media, I'm going to post some videos, and hopefully people call me and they want to pay me, right? And so as I started out on my journey doing the music videos, doing the event recaps, doing the short films, the web series and things of that nature, people knew that I was in this industry, but I wasn't really aligning myself with the projects and brands that I wanted to. And I just couldn't figure out why for a very long time. And I remember it clicked to me one day. I was hanging out with a couple of my friends, and we were like all just going over career life updates and stuff like that. And in the chat, somebody was like Kev, like, well, what do you really do? And then it was funny because I kind of laughed. I was like, isn't it obvious what I do? But then I stopped, and that's when the light bulb went off. That yeah, people knew that I had the skill of taking photos. I had the skill of making videos. They just didn't really understand fully, right? And that's exactly why many people just viewed me as a photographer or videographer. And so for me, it clicked. They don't know me for what I want to be known for because I wasn't telling my story, right? I was actually getting lost in the noise, right? We see in today's day and age when you're scrolling on Instagram, there's so many different things popping up, right? And there's so many different things competing for our attention. So, how do you stand out in such a noisy digital marketplace, right? That was a challenge that I was having. And I realized that people just weren't connecting with my story. And so, what changed for me was I was like, you know what, I need to do in the film world, we have a term called breaking the fourth wall. And that's kind of when you allow people behind the scenes and you show them a little bit of the production, you know, kind of like what we're doing like this for many, many years. This was taboo to kind of show people the behind the scenes. And so for me, when I actually were going on these major productions, these sets, I said, you know what? Let me start picking up the camera. Let me show people what's going on behind the scenes. And in doing that, I actually started to get a little more traction. You know, people were hitting me up, and or when I would hang out with them or meet them in person, they'll be like, yo, like I saw you was doing that thing. And not only just picking up the phone and showing the behind the scenes, actually talking them through it, telling them this is what's going on, right? This is why we're doing this. And I actually started to tell a little bit of my story while I was documenting other people's stories. And that's when I started to realize that a compelling brand story is what will make you unforgettable. So I ask y'all this: why are you really doing this? Right? What's that why? Right? Because in today's day and age, folks are looking for that deeper connection with the brands that they want to support. Right? What is it that drives you every single day? Why did you start this business? Why did you create this product? What impact are you looking to make? Right? And what I've learned and realized is that when it comes to a good story or brands that last, people need something that they can follow, right? So, and many times we always get confused and think, oh, just because I don't have a million followers, I can't make the impact that I want. But I always tell people this: you don't need a million followers. You just need a story that truly connects. Okay. So, what is brand story? Brand storytelling is the art of using narratives to create an emotional connection, right, between your brand and your audience. It's not just about what you sell, it's about why you exist, who you serve, and how you make an impact. Okay. Because people want to understand, like, what was the mindset behind why you got started, why you connected with this. All right. Let's check it in the chat here. The chat is active in here. Okay. Carmen, shout to Carmen. Carmen says, I just recently learned about breaking the fourth wall. Didn't know I was already doing that with BTS recaps. Shout out to you, Carmen, for breaking the fourth wall and taking people on the journey with you, right? Because people love that, right? Let's think about it. Anybody watch reality TV shows? It's okay. It's okay. We listen and we don't judge. Well, in this chat, we're gonna read and don't judge. Okay. So anybody watching any reality TV show, put the show you watching in the chat. Because I'll be honest with you, I was never really a fan of the reality show because I don't understand how people could want to watch somebody else live their life and you have a life to live. But I started to realize is that you enjoy watching reality show because you start seeing other people like, yo, my life is not that crazy. Look at what these other people are doing, right? But it makes them a little more relatable. Okay. So shout out to Carmen for breaking the fourth wall and taking her following on the journey with her. Okay. Up, Kayla said love is blind. We got some Kai Sanat. We got some Kai Sanat followers in here. Okay. Shout out to Eric. Eric says he's not really a reality show person, but Bernie Mac show. Yeah, Bernie Mac. It's funny you said that because Bernie Mac show was actually a show based on his life. So he kind of took us back then and brought us behind the fourth wall. Okay. So all of this sounds great, but you're probably asking yourself, why does this even matter? Okay. I'll tell you why it matters. Because a powerful brand story goes beyond marketing. It actually will help you to build trust, loyalty, and engagement with that core audience that you're looking to build, right? Because think about it, whether it's our favorite TV shows, our favorite movies, our favorite books, they all are about a story, right? They all have to do with a journey. We want to see what's going to happen. This character that we're getting to know about, what happens? Okay, they're in pursuit of something, but do they make it? And that's the same thing your audience wants to know, right? They want to know about your unique journey. What is it that happened to you that allow you to gain this perspective, to gain these set of tools, to gain these lessons, right? Sometimes we got that one thing that maybe we're too embarrassed to share, but you holding back from sharing that one thing is that could actually lead to your breakthrough. So talk about things. Maybe it was some kind of failure, setback. Maybe you lost a job or you had a failure in business, but that failure in business helped propel you to the next level. People want to know about that. All right. It also helps you to create connection because we know that stories evoke emotion and emotion is what drives action. Right. When you talk about that setback or that failure, whatever it is that you experience, it actually humanizes you a little bit. Right. Because we also see in today's day and age, there's like, there's a lot of big corporations out there and we never really feel like we have a connection to them because we don't put a face to a brand. Right. And when you share your unique journey, it allows you to create that connection. But more importantly, it actually allows you to stand out from your competition, right? So your story is something that no one else could copy because I could tell you from I see it now. We live in a day and age where more people are creating content. They're working behind the camera. And one thing I always believe is that like two people can stand in the same spot, have the same exact camera settings and all of that, but have two different perspectives. So I love sharing that with folks because your journey is uniquely you. No one else could copy that. So, at its core, brand stories telling is about making your audience feel something. All right. If you're feeling me in the chat, drop them ones in the chat. Drop them ones in the chat. All right. Arlene says, yeah, I've noticed that artists trust, they have trust me to manage them, not because of my amazing business, but because they know me personally and know my why. Very good, Arlene. Shout out to you, Arlene. That's what's up. Yeah, I definitely concur with that too. I could even say, you know, to your point, knowing your why actually helps people to also support you, not just like want to do business with you, but like when people, I find that when people know why you're doing something and they actually like you as a person, they start throwing you a whole bunch of alley oops, referrals, and a bunch of other stuff. So shout out to you, Arlene, for that. That's what's up. Okay. Christine says, or maybe you're going through it right now. People can relate to that. You're 100% right about that, Christine, because sometimes, when people see us, they only see our wins, right? And then sometimes when they only see us winning, it can unintentionally cause a disconnect with some people because it's like they never see what it took for us to get those wins. So you're right. Maybe even sometimes having a moment of honesty and saying, hey, look, I'm building this business, but this is something I'm experiencing right now. And here's how I'm going to navigate through that. So you're right. Sharing maybe a setback or something you had can actually cause them to relate even more with you. All right. We got a couple ones in the chat. Shout out to the ones in the chat, yo. I like that. We rocking out tonight. We rocking out. Tina saying, why are we throwing the ones in the chat? Why, Tina? because you the one. Why else would you put the one in the chat? Come on, man. We them ones. I'm doing this for the chosen ones tonight, man. It's for the chosen ones tonight. That's why we putting them ones in the chat. And of course, if you'd like to put some other kind of emoji, I mean, put your suggestions in the chat. Maybe we'll change. I only say the ones too, because I don't know where you tuning in from. I would have told you to put the emoji, put some emojis in there, but you may not have access to your keyboard. So, matter of fact, let's put the film strip emoji because we going frame by frame tonight. So if you're feeling me, drop your film strip emojis in the chat. Let's go. All right. So I want to share a little bit about how us at Talbot Media use storytelling to not only grow the brands of our clients, but our personal brands as well. So, as I mentioned, our three main services that we do at Talbot Media are brand strategy, content creation, and social media marketing. Right. So we are mostly B2B. We work with a lot of businesses, but we also work with a lot of individuals as well, across the real estate industry, hospitality industry, entertainment industry. And when I think about a client testimonial or some kind of success story that comes to mind, I would think about one of my real estate clients. And when we first met this real estate client, they had roughly around 3,000 followers or so. And when we first started, we met them, we were actually talking about doing a brand story. And the one thing I asked him, I was like, hey, have you ever thought about, putting your story out there, like telling the story about how the real estate group came together? And he's like, we never really thought about that. And I said, well, maybe we should do that, because obviously everybody sees realtors selling homes, luxury homes, this, luxury homes, that. But I think if you actually share a little bit about your story, I think it could help bring another perspective to why you are building this group. So, all right, let's go for it. So we create a brand story for them, which is something that we do for all of our clients. Before we even take you on as a social media client and we start talking social media strategy, the first thing we always talk about is creating your brand story, right? Like creating something that people can go to and say, okay, I can learn about this brand. I can learn about this person. I can learn about this product. So you'll see up here a couple examples of some brand stories that we produce. This one right here is actually for one of our jeweler clients, and many other ones. But going back to the real estate client, after 6 months or so of consistently sharing pieces of their brand story, we were able to grow their following from 3,000 followers to over 10K. Later that year, they actually became the number one real estate group in their region with $1 billion worth of sales in luxury homes for that year. And all of that came from telling their brand stories. Now, all of those accomplishments were great, but they actually took it one step further where the largest real estate agency and group in all of America, but definitely in New York City, actually reached out to them about joining forces because of their brand presence. Right. So I love sharing that example because when they first started, that was just a dream of theirs to be able to partner with big real estate agencies. But from consistently sharing their stories and letting the audience into, okay, why are we doing this? What is our mission with trying to help people find their dream homes? It actually allowed them to create more business and then partner with other major companies that they've been looking to partner with. So that's one amazing story that I love to share from my client side. But another story I could tell you is actually this, going back to this brand story video over here. This was one of our clients who's a private jeweler, right? And this video we're showing here is actually a snippet from the brand story we created for him. And in a matter of weeks of working with him and posting this brand story, I can't even tell you how many engagement rings this man sold. I don't know if it was just like wedding season or what, but I like to think it's because of that amazing brand story video that we created. So that's just a little bit to show you the power of brand storytelling. But I could even tell you in my own case, my dream was always to one day work in front of the camera. But as I started to learn more about the craft, I realized that I actually enjoy working behind the camera a lot more because you get a chance to craft the story a little better. But in actually, like I was telling you earlier, share a little bit more on my journey, breaking the fourth wall, showing people behind the scenes. It actually even opened up some doors for me to start creating some of my own brand partnerships. Right. One in particular I could think about is a brand called the Beard Club. Shout out to the Beer Club. And so the Beer Club was actually a company that I was creating their visuals for, right? And I started working with them in 2020. And I came on as a producer to produce content for their social media platforms and their YouTube channels. After I would say a couple of months of working with them and producing their content, they actually came to me and said, Kev, have you ever thought about being in front of the camera? And I was like, I might have thought about it once or twice, but I wasn't really too sure. I don't know. They're like, well, you should do it. Why not? And I said, let's go for it. And would you believe it? Not only do I get paid to produce content for them behind the camera, but they also pay me to show off this nice, nice beard. And that, my friends, is all from the power of storytelling. So shout out to storytelling. And shout out to everybody in the chat. Y'all putting on them film emojis. I see y'all. I see y'all. I see y'all. Let's go. Let's go. All right. We got some good questions in here too. We got some good questions. Yenny has a great question. Actually, I can't wait to answer that one. If you don't mind, Yenny, I'm going to save yours for the Q&A portion because that's an important piece of this whole thing. And actually, we're going to touch base on that as we move through. All right. So, like I said, if you're not telling your story already, now it's time for you to start. All right. Let's get into our first game, our icebreaker of the day. Actually, let's run it back. First icebreaker of the day. So I want everyone to pretend that you are a Hollywood executive and you're getting ready to produce your next box office smash, right? And that box office smash is a story of your life, your business, your brand. All right. So if your brand or business were a movie, what genre would it be? Okay. And what would be the name of your movie? And if you're even feeling ambitious, tell us what streaming platform would it be on. All right. I'm going to give y'all 30 seconds. Let's go. 30 seconds. All right. All right. All right. Hold up. Hold up. All right, folks. So what do we come up with? What do we come up with? Let me check the chat. Let's check the chat. Let's check the chat here. All right. Kaylin says hers would be a rom-com titled She's Just a Girl. And it'll be given Emily in Paris, but Latina version. Oh, she says she on Netflix. Okay. She talking motion picture Netflix. Okay. Shout out to Kay. I see you. But I can't front though. I mean, Netflix, the price going up on Netflix. I don't know if we gonna be able to watch that. But shout out to you for going on Netflix. I like that. I like that. All right. Let's see who else. Let's see what else. All right. Yenny. Yenny says a documentary. La Dominicanita in New York. She said she Netflix, maybe Hulu. Okay. All right. That's what's up. That is what's up. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. Eric says his would be a comedy or a rom-com. Eric, what streaming service you gonna be on? I hope you're not gonna say Tubi. Even though I ain't gonna front, I heard Tubi got some bangers. I haven't checked out Tubi, but I heard Tubi got some hits on there. Okay. All right, let's see what's up. Let's see what's up. Dino, How to Run in Place and Make No Sales for Dummies, starring Dino. Okay, Dino, what genre would that be? Would that be like a comedy? And what streaming service you gonna be on? Because I gotta make sure that I got that. I got that platform. All right, all right. Let's see. Let's see who else we got in here. What else we got in? All right, Roya. Roya says hers would be a romance in the genres of LGBTQ, indie film, coming of age story. Oh, and she free and accessible NYP. Yo, shout out to Roya for the people. like that. I like that. Roya said she gonna be entertaining and budget friendly. Let's go. I like that. Yo, these movies is getting me excited. I might have to go binge some of these. All right, let's see. Christine says hers will be a social thriller, a boss on a mission, challenging the industry norms and gatekeepers. Oh, and she said she's gonna be streaming exclusively on Edis. So what does that mean? That means if you're not a part of the creative collective, if you're trying to see Christine's box office smash, that means you need to apply to be in the collective. That's what we're talking about here. Okay. Oh, chill, chill. Eric said he gonna be on Paramount Plus. Okay, that means you gotta add the extra. I got Paramount Plus, Eric. I could tune into that. I'm gonna add you to the list. I got Paramount Plus. Sidebar, just so you know, I have a problem because I tried to get rid of cable and then I ended up with like 5 different streaming platforms and I paid the same price as cable. But that's neither here nor there. Skip back over here. Okay. All right, let's go through a couple of them. All right, let's see. Taz, that boy with a Jamaican twist, and he gonna dip on Hulu. Yes, Taz. Taz gonna dip on Hulu. Me like that. Me like that. I got Hulu too. Got it because I borrowed somebody's password, but Taz, I'm gonna check that out. I'm gonna add that to their list because I use their login. Okay. Tina says hers will be a docu-series titled TV on TV, and she's gonna be on Netflix. Okay. We love a good docu-series, Tina. I like that. I'm gonna check that out. All right. Tamara has a coming of age for sure. Craft Queen, like Pursuit of Happiness, but instead of selling those machines, the protagonist is selling handcrafted pinatas. Oh, wait, I gotta put this back on the screen because Tamara said she gonna keep it classic. Her joint coming out on VHS. So that means you gonna have to find your nearest bootleg man to get Tamara's box office smash. Okay, the Craft Queen. We gotta go to 125th Street where they got the blankets to get Tamara's joint. Because I don't even know if my VHS player still work, but I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna dust it off just for you. All right, shout to y'all. I love it. I love it. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. Yo, I love it. Oh, Roya says hers will be titled Black to the Future. Oh, I love that. I love that. All right, Michelle, what you got, Michelle? Let's see. Michelle says hers is a thriller experimental on Netflix. Building an empire. Okay. Okay. And she's covering all the platforms. She's gonna be on Hulu, she's gonna be on Disney Plus, and she's gonna be on Edis. Let's go. You get that streaming bag, Michelle. I like that. I like that, man. Give it up, man. Shout to y'all. Shout to y'all. I like that. We got a lot of amazing creative movies that will be coming out here in 2025. All right. So that was good. That was very good. All right. So now that we learned a little bit about what is brand storytelling and why it's important, let's go a little bit into the elements of a powerful brand story. Right. And I break it down into five key points. Okay. One, a clear purpose. Two, authenticity. Three, relatability. Four, emotional connection. And five, a visual narrative. Okay. Let's see. So before we actually get into and break down these 5 different topics, let's actually go through a couple brand stories. So these aren't really brand stories per se, but I took two of the biggest brands in the world, Nike and Apple, and I wanted to take a moment to show two of their commercials and how they actually use storytelling to sell products.
You can't be demanding. You can't be relentless. You can't put yourself first. So, you can't be confident. So be confident. You can't challenge. So challenge. You can't dominate. So dominate. You can't flex. So flex. You can't fill a stadium. So fill that stadium. You can't be can't win.
Mm, I love that. I love that. And I just love Nike, period, to be honest. And I think for me and many of us, I don't know if you wear Nike or Puma, New Balance, whatever, brand you represent. But one of the reasons why we know that Nike is literally one of the biggest brands in the world because now they have disassociated themselves with just fitness apparel, right? They embody the mantra of just doing it, right? Because literally, anytime you hear Nike, you know, different things come to mind for different people. Some people probably think of LeBron, they might think of Serena, or some superstar athlete, but at the core, we just think about winning, right? And that's the brand that Nike's built. And if you see that based on this particular visual we just saw, they all incorporated actual real world events, things that are happening right now, to emphasize women winning at a high level. We know that that's a story that's across many platforms, whether you go into politics, fashion, whatever the case may be. You see women performing at a high level. And so they tapped into that. They're listening to what's happening in the world and applying that to the narrative. All right. So I'm actually going to show you another example from another award-winning brand. Now, I'm not here to debate whether you're iPhone or Android. All right, that's another talk for another day. But we know that Apple is an amazing brand because of the experience that they create. So let's play this video and take a look at this one. Hold up.
Most people,
That's why we love live television. Love that. Here we go.
most people quit their New Year's in January. It's called Quitter's Day. Look it up. But what if we didn't quit? Or because it's raining or something? What if we had some extra motivation this year? What if a little bit of help on our wrists could help us quit quitting?
Right. So now we saw in that last example, they're selling a watch, right? But if you notice it, they never directly sold the watch. They sold the experience, the lifestyle around that watch. And if there's one thing that I've learned about Apple, they're amazing when it comes to their their storytelling because they tell story in a way that makes you feel like you need these products, right? I can't tell you how many people they go every single year and they upgrade their iPhone, right? They need to upgrade their iPhone. They feel like they need to upgrade because Apple in a like they create this FOMO almost. Like when they show these visuals, they feel like, well, if I want to live this lifestyle, I want to be more fit, I want to be more tech savvy. They make you feel like you need these products. So I share these two different examples, and and some of y'all saying y'all having some issues with the audio. Don't worry, we'll share these as references at the end, so you can go and like see these and study them, right? Because at the end of the day, we know these brands, right? These brands, they have their own identity. But Apple in particular, what they have done is they found a way to create a unified experience from when you watch the commercials to when you go into the Apple store to when you purchase that item and you open the box. They're creating that feeling, right? And so I share these two examples to show you that that's what we need to apply when we're telling the stories of our brand. Okay. So once again, the five key elements of a powerful brand story: one, a clear purpose. Define the why behind your brand. Two, authenticity. Stay true to your brand's mission and values. Three, relatability. Make your audience see themselves in your journey. Four, emotional connection. Tap into emotions like hope, inspiration in order to create a lasting impact. And number five, a visual narrative. Don't just tell people what you do, show them, use videos, use graphic designs, use all different types of elements to make your story more immersive. All right, a clear purpose, right? So for me, I'm always one thing that I like to believe in is starting with the end in mind, right? Before anytime when a client comes to me and it's like, oh, can you make a video? Well, I always like to ask them, well, what's the purpose of this video, right? Like, why are we doing this video? Like, do you want it to just look good? Are you trying to drive sales? Are you trying to create awareness? What is the objective? Like, why are we doing this? Okay. And so one of the things I like to tell people is like, think about it like this. Like we said, what is it that drives you? Allow people to know that behind the scenes. Why do you get up every single day? Why do you do this business? Who are you really trying to help and impact? Okay. So a couple questions that you should ask yourself when you're trying to get clear about your why and your purpose is, okay, what's my brand's bigger mission beyond selling? Okay, yes, my product is amazing. It can help a lot of people. It's probably the best in its class, but what's the bigger mission? Right? Like, for me, I always like telling people, yes, I love making videos. I love the editing. I love all that stuff. But for me, my purpose goes deeper than just making nice visuals. You know, as a Christian, I actually believe that me creating is a way to honor my creator, right? Like he's equipped me with the skill of storytelling, the talent of storytelling, and the skill to make video. And so I need to do that to help, to help further his mission, to be able to touch people out there, to help impact them, to maybe inspire them to go make some kind of change. Outside of, honoring my creator, another thing that really drives me every day is I want to be able to inspire the next generation of filmmakers. you know, I started doing this in 2009, but this is something that I always wanted to do since I was a kid. The reason why I kind of suppressed it and I never chose to pursue it was, I remember being a kid in the Bronx, New York, and thinking like, yo, I think one day I would love to work in media, but there's not a lot of people who look like me doing this. So I probably can't do it. So one of the things that drives me is being able to show the next generation that they can do it. Outside of building Talbot Media, one of the things I'm passionate about is I actually teach a filmmaking workshop. It's called Beyond the Lens: How to Sharpen Your Focus, Framing and Vision for Life with Mr. Kevin. And it's a workshop that I started in 2017. And it started in 3 schools in the Bronx, and now it's expanded to, different schools throughout the city. And over the past 8 years of me doing this, I've been able to lead countless groups of sixth, seventh, and eighth graders to produce award-winning short films, documentaries, and more importantly, give them this skill, give them an outlet. Because I'm a firm believer that there's so much talent here in the Bronx and many of these urban communities, but they just don't have an outlet. So if I could be able to give the next generation this skill of storytelling, know how to pick up a camera, it might lead them to go create something more positive than go do something negative. So that's my why. But drop in the chat. Let us know what is your why, right? Like you have a business or you have a brand, whatever it is, but let us know why is it that you're doing this? Who are you trying to help? Mhm. Taz says the crazy part is when you find the why part, it's easier to connect when storytelling. Yo, 100 on that, Taz. 100 on that. 100%. Exactly. I love that. I love that. There's actually, we're going to touch on that in the next couple slides. I'm glad you said that. Okay. Everybody else in here, let us know what's your why. Drop in the chat. Okay. Christine says, getting clear on your purpose is actually another way to identify a strong message. 100%. 100%. Arlene says, the good part is that even without knowing what it is, we know what it's about. Good job. Good job. Shout out to everybody out here putting your whys, man. Keep dropping them in the chat. We're going to move along here. All right. So this is actually an assignment that I like to give my clients when I'm working with them. You don't have to do this now. One of the I want to save this for the end, but as for those of you that registered, we're going to give you some of these assignments so that you could take home and do this, because this is not something that you could just do in 30 seconds, right? Like, you need to be intentional about building your brand, right? So I'm going to share this briefly. This is called the why behind your brand, right? And I like to give them this sentence. Like, I like to challenge them to create their clarifying statement. And another way I like to put this is, what's your XYZ statement? I help X do Y by Z, right? So who are you helping? What do you help them do? And how do you help them do it? Right? If you want, you could drop that in the chat. But, like I said, this is something that you should take a little more time and intentionality with. And, you're going to get this assignment to go do on your own. But if you feel comfortable, drop it in the chat as we move along here. All right. Number 2, authenticity. How to stay true to your brand's mission and values. Oh, wait, hold up. Run it back. All right. Authenticity, right? So let's be honest. Our audience can spot when we're being fake, right? I think, what's the young kids call it? Like, yo, you capping, right? That's what they say nowadays. You capping. They can tell when you capping, all right? And same thing when we're building a brand or business, right? People can feel when we're inauthentic, right? Like, going back to the examples of the Nike and the Apple, why people feel their authenticities is because when they watch that commercial, they get the same feeling when they step into the Apple store. So I ask you this, when you're positioning yourself online, do you have that same experience when they actually meet you to start talking about doing the sale, or when they purchase your product or service? So we want to make sure that we staying true to ourselves and our brand's mission and values along every part of the process, right? So that's exactly why we got to get clear on what's our why, what's driving us. Because once you get clear on that, that allows people to connect with us, right? Because people want to connect with brands that are real, raw, and relatable. So, for me, like, I always think about when I first embarked on business, I always had this one idea, like, oh, I felt like businessmen had to be like this. And I just wasn't being true to myself. So even though I was in the making the way on my journey, I wasn't really making the right connections because I wasn't being myself. And it wasn't until, I'll say, the past couple years, I really started to, embrace self-love, and all the things that I thought were weird about myself were actually things that people love most about me. And I started to share that more. And so when you actually share those things, maybe that failure, that weird quirk that you think is embarrassing, it actually allows the people that you really need to be helping in business find you. So ask yourself this: what inspired you to start? What challenges did you overcome? And how do your values shape your brand? Like I said, we're going to keep moving along, but you could definitely share that in the chat here. Share that in the chat. Yo, Arlene put the cap. Y'all are crazy. Crazy. I love it. I love it. Yo, we having some fun tonight. All right. Once again, like I said, another exercise I like to ask my clients is, what's that failure that shaped you? Right? So think about a moment where you considered it a failure. You thought maybe you failed, you made some kind of mistake, but that mistake or failure actually shaped your brand. What happened? What did you learn from it? So I actually share in my situation. So before I started Talbot Media in February 2021, wow, it's actually crazy to say that, February 2021. Actually, Talbot Media just turned 4 years old yesterday on February 26th. That was the day we did the incorporation, got the EIN, LLC, and everything. So before Talbot Media started in February 2021, I had another media agency that I started in 2018 with a business partner. And 2020 came around, 2020 was wild for all of us. And we actually had to dissolve that business. And it was tough for me to navigate what was I going to do coming out of that business. And, for a long time, I actually stopped promoting myself. I stopped sharing my brand because I actually thought that if I told people that, we couldn't move forward with the business, that I would be considered a failure. And actually, when I started sharing more about myself, because in that time when I stopped sharing, I stopped posting, I kind of, went into, a time of reinventing myself. It was actually hurting my brand because I wasn't out there. I wasn't connecting with that audience that I had built for so far in my career. And then when I actually got comfortable in sharing the lesson that I learned from that failure, and how I took those lessons to make Talbot Media better when I started it, I actually started to connect with more people, because more people were like, would you believe it? I actually faced the same thing. I didn't know you went through that. Like, wow, you sharing that it actually helped me with the breakthrough. So I encourage you, those things that you think make you a failure, embrace those things, because those are the things that make you real, that make you you. All right. So if you feel comfortable, maybe share one in the chat. Oh, I thank you. I thank you, Eric and Roya. Yes, Talbot Media just turned 4. Shout out to Talbot Media. Yes, and we hoping that we go for many, many more. All right. And of course, that has a lot to do with many people in this chat here today for your support over the past 4 years. And like I said, actually embracing that failure, learning from it, and then using that to propel me forward. So if you got some failure mistake and you feel comfortable, drop it in the chat. Drop it in the chat. All right. All right. Let's move it along here. All right. Number 3, relatability. Understanding your audience and speaking their language. All right. So now that we got clear on our purpose, we starting to be a little more authentic and bring our values into our brand. We want to make sure that we're actually relating to the target audience that we're looking to serve. Right? A great brand story makes your audience see themselves in your journey. Right? Because at the end of the day, yeah, people see you, they see you progressing, winning, whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, what about them? Right? People always want to know, how does this help benefit me? So when you're thinking about telling your story, you're not the only hero in your story, right? You also have to allow your audience to see themselves, right? Because when you start to share, like you said, those lessons you learn from the transformation, it actually helps them realize, like, okay, this person can actually help me get the results that I want. They can help me transform my life. If they overcame that problem, their product, service, or business can actually help me overcome my problem as well. So a couple questions to ask yourself when you're in this phase of the story is, okay, well, who is your audience? Okay, what struggles do they face, and how does your story align with their needs? One of the exercises I love to give my clients in this um, portion of it is, who is your brand talking to? Right. So describe your ideal customer in one sentence. Another way that I like to put this exercise is called the audience of one. Right. We love to help our clients narrow their audience down to a one persona, right? Because many times in business, we try to talk to everybody. And when you talk to everybody, you reach no one, right? And the brands that succeed are very clear about who they're trying to help and who they're trying to serve. And so I always like to tell folks, well, let's think about it. Who is that person? Maybe give them a name. I don't know. Maybe her name is Patricia, and Patricia is a young entrepreneur who might be struggling with putting herself out there. Right? She knows she needs to use the internet to grow a business, but she doesn't know where to start. Right? She doesn't understand storytelling, or she doesn't even know how to make content. And so, Tower Media, we're focusing on, how can we talk to Patricia? Because when you start to focus on that one person you're talking to, when your target audience comes to engage with your brand, watch your videos, watch your blog posts, learn about you, they feel like you're talking to them. All right. So who is your brand talking to? Right. If you're very clear on that, yo, type it in the chat. Type it in the chat. Let us know who your target audience is. All right, we doing great so far. How y'all feeling today? I see y'all cooking in the chat right now. You cooking, cooking, cooking. Oh, we got some good fares. I can't wait to the Q&A. I'm gonna come back to that. We got some good ones. Shout out to everybody in the chat tonight participating. All right. Number 4, emotional connection. Okay. When I think of emotional connection and tapping into the emotions to really create a lasting impact, I always think of this Maya Angelou quote that says, people may often forget what you do, they may forget what you say, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. Right. And we connect with the brands that make us feel something, right? So at the end of the day, people don't remember the stats. They don't remember how many sales you got, right? They remember how you made them feel. And a strong brand story taps into emotions like hope, inspiration, and transformation. Okay. So, like I said, for me, when I actually embraced that setback of my last media agency not working out the way I wanted to, And I shared that. I started sharing that people. It humanized me. I don't know why, but people were like, "Wow, I never knew you went through that." And it's like, you know what? I can relate to that. They felt it, and then all of a sudden, they just started throwing me more business. They started helping me more. It's like, you know what, Kev, you got to meet this guy. They started connecting me with people, right? So when you share your story, are you connecting with people? Does your story evoke emotion? Right? Does it inspire them to take action? And you're probably thinking, okay, well, what kind of action do I want them to take? All right, taking action could be something as simple as liking your post. Okay, right? How many times people they may watch it or they might scroll past it, but if you do something that im- causes them to feel something, they may like that. They might actually go forward and even share it. Okay, they may go and say, you know what, I want to go and follow this person. Check out your website. But the best action that you're looking to get is you're looking to create some kind of sale. Okay. So, does my story evoke emotion? Does it inspire them to take action? And more importantly, will they even care? Right. So, these are some questions to ask yourself. If you have the answers to that, definitely feel free to drop them in the chat. Drop them in the chat. Actually, let's see. Let's go. Let's check in on the chat real quick. Check in on the chat. All right. Shout to Terrence. Let's put Terrence on here. Let's see. All right, shout out to Terrence. Terrence is a makeup artist, and there was a YouTube series that he was working on, and was instructed to leave my kit at the previous location, but ended up needing. Oh wow! Oh, they was out there challenging you. Okay, I did end up. I had to touch up supplies. Okay, okay. Needless to say, I killed it, and I still use those methods. Shout to you, Terrence. Shout to you for that. Because you know what? People gonna test you. They're gonna test you to see how you respond. But kudos to you for taking the first of all, embracing the challenge and learning from it, and still using those methods to build your brand and business today. Amazing. Shout to you, Terrence. Shout to you. All right. Let's see what Yanni's saying here. All right. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. All right. Yenny says, Yenny says, their target audience are usually people interested in projects or learning, which is what? And I've been sharing the most on Instagram. Okay, great. And do you feel like what you're sharing on Instagram is actually helping you to connect with those people? Drop it in the chat. Drop it in the chat. And of course, keep putting your questions in here, because in the next few moments we're actually going to be getting to our Q&A session. So start loading those questions up. All right, moving along here. Doing great. We're almost at the end here. We're almost at the end. All right. Emotional connection. All right. So this exercise, we like to call this one the feelings test. This describe your brand in 3 feelings. Okay. When people interact with your brand, what 3 emotions do you want them to feel? Right. There's actually one step that I do with my clients before this. Typically we ask them to list out 10 to 15 words or emotions. So creative, innovative, tech savvy, um, emotional. And after they list out the 10 to 15, let's narrow it down to 3. What are the top 3 feelings that you want folks to leave with, or emotions, right? Like we said in the example of Nike, they want people to feel motivated, empowered, inspired. Okay. At Talbot Media, we want people to feel educated, inspired, or entertained, right? Every piece of content, when you watch it, you should either leave with something maybe you didn't know this before, right? It expanded your wealth of knowledge. Maybe you were inspired, not only inspired to take action, but actually inspired to go and do something in your own life, you know, and even entertained. And I feel like the best pieces of content that we create, the strongest ones, actually hit all 3 at one time. So as we move along in the chat below, what are your 3 feelings that you want your brand to represent? Drop those in the chat. All right. We got some good ones here. Got some good ones here. Terrence says Empowered, confident, powerful. We like that. We like that. We like that. All right. Yenny says she wants them to feel excitement, inspiring, and educational. All right. I like that. I like that. All right, let's go. What's Roya saying? Roya says she wants her audience to feel radicalized, empowered, and encouraged. Yes, yes, yes. Inspire those people to go outside the box here. I like that. I like that. All right. Who else? Who else? Who else? Who else? Kaylin says she wants her audience to feel educated, creative, and inspired. All right, let's go. I like that. I loving these words. We're gonna keep moving along, but drop your 3 words in the chat. Let us know what people should feel when we interact with you. All right, moving along. All right, this is actually one of my favorite pieces of bringing these 5 elements together is visual narrative. Okay, because I'm a believer that life is like a movie. Okay, and in movies, it's better to show people than tell them. Right? Like, let's think about it. Anybody ever seen the Truman Show? Right? Like where he was just living his life, but he didn't realize he was in a movie. That's kind of how I view myself every day when I wake up. Right? I feel like I'm the director of my own life. I get a chance to this character, Kev T. Right? We get a chance to go and live out these dreams. And if something's not working, we change the script a little bit. All right. So I love to use that example of your life being a movie because let's think about it. A powerful brand story isn't just written, okay? It's seen, heard, and felt. So we know that strategically using videos, copywriting, graphic design, that makes your story more immersive, right? So in the chat right now, how many of y'all are documenting your journey? Okay, let us know. Let us know if you're documenting your journey. Okay, like I would tell you. So there's actually a piece of content that I dropped recently on my social media. And honestly, I just made this for fun. And it was in response to somebody. I was like scrolling through like threads or Twitter one day, and somebody was like, "Oh, like I wish people came with a 30-second trailer." So we all knew what we were getting ourselves into before dealing with that person. And so I thought it was a funny prompt because I was like, yo, what if I actually made a 30-second trailer of what my life would look like? Right. And so like I'm going through, I'm like pulling clips and I'm like looking at my life. I'm like, wow, like we go to movies all the time and we get fired up because we feel an emotional connection to those characters in the movies, in our favorite books, in our favorite TV shows. But you have the power and ability to do that every day with your brand, right? When you're going to build your business, let's say, for example, if you got, some kind of clothing brand, a t-shirt brand, and you got to go to the warehouse and go bag up orders. People want to see that, right? Because let's think about it. We don't like story. Like, let's say if you went to a movie and the movie was about a character that sat in their room and scrolled all day, we would not enjoy that, right? We love stories where the protagonist is in pursuit of something, right? We love stories that we can follow, right? And people actually love seeing us on our journey too because they love seeing the transformation. So, one question that I encourage you to ask yourself, does my content visually align with my story, right? And this workshop today isn't geared about the technical of how to use the video. I will say that, we will have some upcoming workshops on teaching you how to actually do that. Today was just more so the overarching, but whether it is video, maybe it's carousels, maybe that it might even actually be a blog post, whatever content that you're choosing to create and put out there, does it visually align with my story? Right? All these 3 words that y'all put in here that you want people to feel when you're making this, do they feel those 3 words? You should ask yourself that before you press post and send, right? Because if you don't feel those 3 words, there's a good chance that your audience may not. All right. Another question that I love to ask, or I encourage you to ask yourself is, am I using video and visuals effectively? Right? Because sometimes people think that, okay, if I just show somebody, like if I just show the behind the scenes of me bagging up the orders or whatever, like people are just gonna assume, right? Like in my case, like I said, I was showing people, I was taking the photos, doing the videos. But if I don't tell them, like if I don't put the words like copyright and say in the caption, this is what's going on, if I don't add that another layer of storytelling, I'm not effectively using video. So if you're somebody who's using videos, graphics, blog posts, email newsletter of some sorts, um, drop us in the chat and answer these questions. Do you feel like the content you're producing is visually aligning with your story? All right. One exercise that I love to do. Oh my gosh, I love to do this. If we had a little more time, I would do this in the chat. But matter of fact, what we should do is we're gonna have to get like a meetup study session because I actually want to check your homework. I love this exercise. So your brand's opening scene, right? So we spoke earlier about you producing your box office smash, right? Those rom-coms, those thrillers, those docu-series, right? But if your brand story were a movie, what would that opening scene look like? Okay. Now, me, I'm a very descriptive person, and I can see by all the creatives that are in here. Yeah, I can get real detailed. So make sure you take this assignment with you because I'm gonna follow up. I'm gonna have to check your homework because all those box office smash that I added to my watch list, I want a little preview of what that first scene is gonna look like. Okay. All right. So with that being said, we have made it to the end of our presentation here for tonight. Okay. So a couple key takeaways that I want to leave you with. All right. What did we learn here tonight? So we learned a little bit about what is brand storytelling. And of course, like we said, it's not just about what you sell, it's about why you exist, who you serve, and how you make an impact. Secondly, we learned about the elements of a powerful brand story. And so we learned that a powerful brand story is built on purpose, authenticity, relatability, emotional connection, and strong visuals that bring everything to life. And then lastly, we touched a little bit on how to craft your brand story to tell that compelling story so that folks can help you understand your mission, identify with your values. You can also understand your audience and highlight what your unique value is. So, with that being said, we have made it to Q&A. Let's go. Where's Q&A at? Oh, wait, before we jump into Q&A, which I'm going to start bringing Arlene up on the screen too, because Arlene is going to help us facilitate the Q&A. The next steps to leave from this, okay? As I told y'all, we're going to have some giveaways. We're going to have some freebies. All right. So for all of you that registered for this workshop, you will get a free recording of this. So like I mentioned, there's a lot of exercises in here that you need to obviously spend time doing to be intentional about your brand. You will get this recording so you can actually play this back. Not only will you get a free recording, we'll actually give you a worksheet or a version of these slides where you can actually take time to do these exercises on your own. Or if you even like, you can even reach out to us at Talbot Media or the Creative Collective about actually scheduling some time for us to chat and help you refine your brand story. But the biggest thing that I could also tell you is make sure you stay up to date with what's going on in the Creative Collective, because what you saw today was actually part one of a three-part series. And if I could just give you a little snippet about what's going to happen in the next parts, but in part two, like we mentioned, we're actually going to get into leveraging visuals, right? So we learned about the power of video, but how do we use cinematic techniques, right? Okay, do I use my phone? Do I use a camera? All of that will be in part two. Part three will be about implementing your brand story across platforms. All right. So now that we got clear on the purpose, we understand what the story is, we know what tools we're using to create these visuals, but how can we make sure our brand is staying consistent across the different platforms? And, that will be in part three. So if you want more information about those upcoming workshops, make sure you join the Creative Collective and reach out to Arlene, who is a community manager, or even reach out to us. You could definitely follow us and stay connected with us at Talbot Media. You can also follow me personally at Shop by Smooth, and of course visit our website talbotmedia.tv. And as another courtesy, another free giveaway for everybody who registered for today's call, we're actually going to be giving everyone free 30-minute consultations on how to craft your brand story. So once you get the replay, once you get the worksheet and you actually do these assignments, schedule your 30-minute call, because then now we're going to talk about the next steps of creating the videos and things like that. So now with that being said, it is time for Q&A. All right. We made it. Matter of fact, shout to y'all. We made it. We made it through. We made it through. And y'all was locked in. Y'all were participating, taking notes, sharing, because that's what this is about. Like I said earlier, what you put in is what you get out. Okay. So where's Arlene? Arlene, let me bring you back up in here. Oh, hey, there goes Arlene. Welcome back, Arlene.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you so much. This was awesome. Before I give you my little outro, I wanted to take a little vibe check and know, who's down to stay for Q&A. We in the RSVP we received some questions, I believe.
Okay.
But we're here now. So Maciel, I know you had a question, so if you want to come on up. And then I wanted to, be mindful of your time. It was supposed to be an hour. We are way past that because the information and the knowledge and the gems just have been great. So let me know if you want to stay. If you want to stay for the Q&A, drop a one. If not, it's been amazing. Thank you so much for joining. And I will be sending you an event feedback form because I really want to know, how you enjoy this, what other workshops you want to see. I also want to let you know that if you want to host a workshop, you definitely can. Just let me know. I will also send you the application form to apply to the collective because if you're not part, I know some of you are not because I reached out to you on Instagram, you can apply. And here it is for you. All right. So some people want to stay. Let's go. Maciel, if you're there and you want to ask your question, we can bring you up for a second. Are you there? No? But Maciel's question was about, because she's going to watch this recording, was about how to stay consistent in creating your content and posting it. And if there are any tools that you can recommend to assist on that.
I got you. I love that question because that's a question that we get often. And to be honest, a question that many creatives struggle with, right, is staying consistent. And if there's two things I like to narrow it down to, I love to tell people is that first and foremost, you need to have a strategy, right? You need to break it down and you need to have a plan because many times we just start doing stuff randomly because this is what this person doing, this is what the trend is doing. And many times when you're just doing random stuff and throwing mud against the wall, hoping it sticks, you eventually burn out. So I always encourage folks is take time to create some kind of strategy, right? And then the second thing is do what works for you. Many times we often compare ourselves to other creatives and or other brands and be like, oh, this person posts 5 times a week or this person posts 5 times a day. And you have to realize that sometimes you have to build up to that. And you may be in a position where it's like, I only have, 1 day a week to post. So stay consistent with that 1 day. And I always say break it down. Don't try to do everything at once. Sometimes we try to write the idea, shoot the video, edit all in 1 day, and that's overwhelming. So maybe set a certain time or a certain day where I'm only gonna come up with the ideas. On another day or time, I'm only gonna shoot the content. Another day and time, I'm gonna film and edit the content and then post it. And make sure you schedule everything in advance. Like don't wait until that moment. But those are a couple tips that I love to give folks to help them stay consistent.
Yeah, I love that. It took me forever to learn that actually. But once I got it, I'm like, whoa, like you don't make a movie and edit it in the same day and release it to the theater. So the same way with your content. So do we have
And
any
I
more
also want to
questions?
shout out real quick Carmen. Carmen actually responded and says that batching content creation always works. So great job, Carmen. That's exactly what we're talking about.
Oh, Marcial, you were there.
Oh, sorry,
Any other
Marcia.
questions, guys?
Oh, Marcia wanted to call. And also, I would tell y'all, if you have questions now, you can, if you feel comfortable, you can actually call in and we'll put you on camera here. If anybody is interested or curious about how we hosted this workshop tonight, This workshop was through a platform called Riverside.fm. So if anybody is ever curious about live streaming or podcast production, that is a service that we offer at Talbot Media. But this is a program that you could check out. And if, of course, if you're like looking for help with that, don't hesitate to reach out. So
We also have another question from Roya. What if
yeah, that's
who
a
I
great question.
am? Yeah, scroll up. Can you bring it up? Perfect.
Mhm.
What if who I am is my brand? Exactly, your personal brand. And I'm not actually trying to sell anything. I don't want to be a product and don't want to monetize everything that I do. Essentially, I am wondering how I could use the tools, tips, and strategies you offer to promote literacy, send love back to the Black people community, dismantle white supremacy, very important.
Mm,
How can I use these tools in real time, not just on camera? That's a really
mm.
great question.
Now that's a great question, Roya. And the one thing that I would definitely say is I definitely understand about like not selling anything because I know you personally. I'm familiar with your brand, and you are your brand. But I think what you're doing is amazing. Like just keep talking about your purpose, right? Because that is what is going to draw people any chance you get. So as I mentioned earlier, Roya recently just dropped her second book of poems, Savings Time. It actually launched last week or so, and we were there for the launch event. And one thing that I noticed that was a common theme throughout that event. Everyone got up there and they talked about the importance of literacy, right? So the more you out there, going to these events, you support a lot of other poets as well. You go to the event, don't be afraid to keep talking about what you're doing. Let people know why you made this book. Let people know why you're doing what you're doing. Don't be afraid. Like one thing that Roya does all the times in her poems, she's always is uplifting the Black community. So I would definitely say, you know, putting yourself more out there. It doesn't have to be in video because I know video isn't the right way for everybody. But if you're a phenomenal writer, use your gift of writing. It could be a blog post or things like that. So that's the one thing I would definitely say.
And if I can add something, I would say, I understand the artists and the activists feeling of not wanting to sell anything. But we also have to eat and we have to pay rent and all of that. And there are people that appreciate the value that you give and the person that you are and want to support that. So having like a book, a Substack, whatever way that people can show you that appreciation back, is also a great way to go about it.
Yeah, no, I love that you said the Substack thing, Arlene. That was big. I was going to say,
Mhm.
even like platforms like LinkedIn. I know it
Mhm.
sounds weird because it's like, oh, is people consider LinkedIn for like business, but for what you do, you need to partner with people who have those resources in the business world. So maybe writing an article about a personal experience if you feel comfortable about you know being Black in America, like talking about these things, bring awareness to the forefront. But I think using your gift of writing is hands down one of the perfect ways to continue to build your brand.
Yeah. Carmen also had a question. Do you have any tips on staying creative and motivated to produce your own
Mm,
content when your job is to create content for others
mm.
daily? Wow. Yeah, that's me.
Oh man, Carmen, I love this question. 'Cause I struggle with this often. Like, there's many times when I'm like out doing client work. Cause I'll be real, like I do a lot of the client works, obviously, because I want to help people. I see that people struggle on social media. They don't even know how to make videos for their business. So I like that. But then there's also sometimes where it's like, yo, I could be doing this myself, and that's one of the things that led me to start promoting myself as well. But if I could tell you like ways to just stay creative is make sure you find time for yourself. In my earlier parts of my career, I was just grind, 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 hustle, 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 and I was getting burnt out. And you have to remember that for many of us as creators, we pick this up as a way of expressing ourselves. So never forget why you started is a great one. And then, just set time to just do something, create something that has no monetary value. Like just create to create. Right. I think that's important as well. Like especially when you're doing it for compensation, because you gotta do it to keep your lights on. like we always feel this need that like, oh, I have to, if there's no money, like why would I do it? Nah, like just create to create sometimes because you need to keep that going.
That's right. Or do like me. I create a lot. I just don't post it. And whenever I get that strategy, I already have the content there and I don't have to worry about it
Mhm.
or get the
Actually,
time to do it.
now one other one this is actually one that came to mind is also, I always encourage people to like don't lose those childhood hobbies and interests that they had. I think like as adults, sometimes like we get like we really be hashtag adulting and we lose that childlike innocence, that feeling of like playing, and then for me, like now when I kind of shifted that mindset on like, yo, like this video, remember that kid that you were when you just had one camera in your MacBook. You didn't have all of this. Like keep that same energy and find time to feed that inner child. Like one thing I started doing is like a couple Saturdays I wake up, I'll go hit the gym. I might spend like an hour watching some cartoons or something. Like I'm like, yo, I need to feel like a kid again because when you keep that childlike essence, it helps you create. It feeds your imagination.
Yeah. And our last question, definitely you can keep sending questions, log into the collective, DM me, DM Edis, DM Talbot Media, we're here for you. But Jenny's question was how to get partnerships.
Ooh, that's a great question. Great
We can do
question.
a whole workshop on partnerships for sure.
Nah, we really can. We really can. All right. So, and actually, maybe we should. We should definitely do that. So, going back to the why, right? Getting clear on who you are, what your purpose is definitely one. But then even going to, like I said earlier, like those things that maybe people that you think that your audience may not want to hear about, like focus on those. And so, for example, like for me, outside of building my media agency, I'm definitely passionate about uplifting my Bronx community. I'm passionate about fitness. I'm passionate about health, entertainment, and things like that, even like personal self care. And so, in my case, as somebody who was, taking care of their skin, taking care of their health, the Beer Club partnership just kind of naturally aligned. It just felt right. So one thing that I always had to tell people is think about the brands that you already like using that you love and reach out to them. Like, don't be afraid to shoot your shot. Like Arlene said, that's actually, maybe we will do a workshop on like how to craft proposals to reach out to them. But I think that's one of the biggest things is like think about like the brands that you using or brands that actually align with your personal values as well and that you would want to support. Obviously, show build your brand from posting your content, showing what you do outside of building your business, and then reach out to them. And you might actually get to a point where like you're showing so much of your personal self that the brands might actually reach out to you. Like I said, in the case of the beer club, it kind of just happened. Like I didn't have a plan to do that at all. It was just like, hey, like I think it'd be cool one day for me to just get paid to just do stuff that I'm already doing. That's how it started for me. I just said, yo, how do I do that? I asked that question. And just how they have like an internet algorithm, I believe that there's an algorithm of life. Like God has an algorithm. Like when you start asking yourself questions, it opens up those doors. So now that you're starting to think about brand partnerships, watch, you'll start to see the alignment happen. But don't worry, in the next workshop, we'll talk about that, how to craft those proposals and how to reach out to brands.
Yeah. And I also want to add the last thing, guys. We're leaving now. Um, uh, for Jenny, you're a photographer and many other things. And like for me, as a producer and filmmaker, and wanting to work with artists and talent management, all I do all day is reach out. I DM. I have no fear. I DM anybody. I see your stuff. I like it. I DM you. I'm like, hey, would be great to collaborate with you. And like you start there, right? And they say,
Mhm.
and it goes the same for brands. And yeah, it happens. Like a lot of the projects that I do is because I just reach out and was like, hey, I want to work with you,
Mhm.
and that's it. And they see my portfolio, etc.
Mhm.
And that's that. You can't be scared. All right.
Yeah, you can't be
Um,
scared. And the other thing too is like what you said with building a brand, it also gives you leverage because
mhm.
you also have to realize too is that like you offering some kind of value to them. Like it's not like oh that you just that they're doing you a favor partnering with you. You got to have that energy too. Like yo, I'm doing you a favor partnering with you. You kind of have to have that energy. So, find a way to leverage the value that you bring.
That's right. All right. Well, this was amazing, guys. 9:05. I appreciate it. We all appreciate it that you're still here. And a big thank you to Kevin. Hey, put your own. There you go. There you go. A big thank you to Kevin. He's part of the collective. He said, I want to get involved, and this is what came out of it, and that's what I want you all to do. I want you to get involved. If you want, Terrence, if you want to do a workshop on makeup, if whatever, just let me know. We're your community and we're here for you, and we want to support you in everything that you're doing. Roya, for sure, reach out. All right, and that's it. I'm gonna send you a feedback link tomorrow so that you can, even tonight maybe, so that you can fill it up. Tell us, give us your feedback. Tell us how it was. Tell us what other workshops you want to see. Definitely follow Talbot Media on Instagram. Follow Eris at eris.u, and follow also Socially Smooth, who also
Mhm.
helped put this
Oh,
together.
yeah. And also, I made it easy for you too. If you want to just click my website, you could just click right here in the
There you
link and
go.
it'll take you straight to the website. You could do that.
That's awesome.
You could do
All
that.
right, and that was it, guys. Please stay in touch. Let me know however we can help you, because we're here for you. And that's it. Good night. Go have dinner.
All right, have
Go
a good
go
night.
go sleep. We love you. Bye.
Bye.